If you're on the video side of things, something that's very interesting that's been happening to me recently is that I used to be like hired only for photography, and the highlight film would be kind of secondary, and it was usually for couples that didn't necessarily want to go with a full video team. What I've now been hired for a couple times this year and a few times last year was video coverage first with family photos. So I'm there to do a highlight film, but then also just take the family pictures and like maybe 10 photos during the ceremony. But for getting ready coverage for everything, like I'm not doing that in photo, that's all video.
This week, I'm at the Rhapsody Workshop in France with my friend Fair.
So natural, just having a conversation.
And I'm here to talk about adding hybrid photo video coverage if you are a photographer, or the other way around, if you're a video creator and you're looking at offering some photo, that's an option too. If you're interested in Rhapsody Workshops, Christina runs a lot of these portfolio building workshops, so check out the site in the description and find out what she's up to next. And Pick Time, who is one of the sponsors of this workshop, they're doing a crazy Black Friday sale right now that if you sign up for their Black Friday sale, they will migrate over up to 200 galleries for you. So if you currently have a different gallery system and you've been wanting to move to Pick Time for a year now, this is your chance, your opportunity. They're gonna move up to 200 galleries over for you, included in that Black Friday sale. Plus, if you use the link down below, so use the link down below, you'll also get my full preset pack, which is usually $89 on its own, and it will be completely free to you if you use that link.
All right, this is me. I'm sitting. I'm a boring wedding photographer. I'm the opposite of Fair. Fair is so creative and wonderful, and he makes such amazing work. And I think I make pretty good work, but I definitely don't have the creativity that we saw yesterday. I'm a lot more, I would say, efficient and standard, while also using pretty light and also doing photo and video coverage at the same time. And I think it's okay. I think there's a space for all of us, that if we are all the same, none of us are gonna book anything. So we might as well find the job that you love, and if that job is being really creative and going out of the box and getting crazy, that's awesome. If it's not, that's okay too. That you can do both, and there's room for all of us. And now I get to play with cameras for a living, which is kind of cool, and create memories for couples. I love weddings because I'm immediately creating something that is valuable for the family, and then it's also valuable to generations passed down over time, which is really, really awesome. I think it's one of the very few jobs that we get to do that. Some of my work, but that's the exact same scene. I was just standing over here now, so it's nice. Colors are exciting sometimes, so I can be exciting. Sometimes I rely on 85-1.2 to make my work exciting. I rely very heavily on bokeh to make things fun. I also go to a lot of locations, and I don't know, I shoot what might be considered to be postcard photos. So I did some postcards for Fair. So we got the...
All right, some background on this. First day of the workshop, Fair did a presentation and talked about how we shouldn't just default to getting the postcard shot. That if we're in a cool environment, you obviously want to showcase it, but you can do that in more creative ways to make a more artistic image feel like the environment rather than just taking the easy way out. And I am absolutely someone that takes the easy way out pretty often, and this is something I'm working on after listening to Fair talk.
I don't think there's anything more postcardy than that. Tiny bride, just hold dress. Very easy. Some more postcards, New York, Rome. Got another Iceland. Doesn't get more postcard than that. I think there's obviously value in creating what we created yesterday, but then it's also nice to have these shots, and my couples specifically come to me and they're looking for something probably more like this. And that's also based on the fact that I've been showing kind of this style of work for a very, very long time. I also do all the trends. Point and shoot film camera, pop-up flash, got it. TikTok stuff, no problem. Black and white and blurry. Selective color. That one's not, I don't do that. Direct flash, black and white. Direct flash color. Direct flash from too far away. You gotta get closer if you're gonna use that. You gotta experiment, because then you learn stuff. And this is a direct flash shot too. Like 5 minutes, I shot this. So these were all from Sunday. I shot these, and then shot that outside, and they went into their first dance, and I just used direct flash on it, and it worked really well. This is a really challenging, super difficult venue, and I've always tried to off-camera light it, and turns out direct flash is easier and you're just, I don't know, it just gets a better shot. So I think there's lots of different pathways to make a business work, and the pathway that I've chosen is a little bit more video-centric. This comes back to the pathway that made me, I guess, find photography, was actually doing video first. So I did a hybrid film in, I'm gonna say 2001. I did one of my first ski trips, and I did a video with a little point-and-shoot Olympus camera, and then I also did photos. So I was always kind of doing both, and that was the first professional-looking thing I ever did. All right, so what is hybrid? Oh yeah, we'll see if audio works. Let's find out. Oh, it's on here, that's fine. So it's just making little highlight films like this. This is me yesterday, coming here to see you all. And it's just taking the regular photos that you would take along the way, and then also just some video clips. So it's literally just switching back and forth. Now here we are. Wonderful. Not the most exciting film probably, but if like your kids were in this, it'd be very exciting. You can, Fair's in it. You know him. Yeah. So it really is just recording clips the exact same way. So you see all these shots are pretty much locked off. I'm not doing any crazy tracking. I'm not on a gimbal. It's just that, and maybe you saw me yesterday that I was holding my one camera and then I was just doing photos with the other camera. And for first dance, first look, for whatever you need 2 cameras rolling, you can do both as one person if you want. Again, you don't have to. My friend Tim, we started doing this hybrid thing together, and he decided that all he wants to do is video or photo. So he's never doing both, but he learned the video skills, and now he gets hired to do video, probably more of the time than photography. So for what I deliver is my regular photography coverage and a 3-minute highlight film. Overall, I would say that this is what my couples want. They don't want a 7-minute highlight with speeches and everything all wound in. Also, that makes an editing nightmare. My struggle, I guess, for adding multiple services is just the back end. And if you're doing a 3-minute highlight that's chronological, like the last thing, or I'll show you this too.
Okay.
Or something like this.
You came into my life at exactly the right time. When I wasn't ready and yet when I needed your help the most.
Paige, getting to know you and fall in love with you has been the greatest.
So it's basically just the photos that I would normally take, but then I'm rolling a video clip on it. For highlight films, or for destination weddings specifically, it is incredibly powerful to be able to do both as one person. The ideal would be to have a second so that you could just get a better video overall. But if it's just you out there and someone hires you to fly somewhere and you can do both services, it's just a very easy decision for them to make, because now they're comparing you against 2 vendors. That's like, well, we don't want to spend $9,000 on a video team and also like 5 or 6 on a photographer. And if that 5 or 6 or maybe 7 with a photographer comes with a highlight video and they don't want the full video production, it's a pretty easy sell. My couples specifically don't really want a huge team at their wedding day. They would prefer just for myself and a second to be there. They don't want like 15 people running around. They're very introverted. I guess it's kind of like attracts like, that if you're a more reserved person, you're probably going to be attracting that style of client. And to have 2 people there, they're usually happy. Hybrids doubled my sales, and not only because my packages got more expensive, but also I just became that vendor that they couldn't really compare against, which is really, really cool. I started offering this, I think, in 2012, and it was really, really challenging at the time. Everything was, for video, is manual focus. Half my shots are completely out of focus, but it was better than them having nothing, so that a lot of couples, even last minute, were like really happy to be like, hey, we don't have a video team. We saw that you posted this video to your blog at the time. We'd love to like add that on at this point if that's possible. Now about 80% of my wedding days are hybrid. When you do photography only, after you do like a year or 2 of hybrid, when you do a photography only job, you feel like you have the day off. Like I feel like I'm not doing anything. When you're doing photo video coverage, you're always, at least mentally, you're kind of in your timeline of where you're at with the video. So like if we arrive here, I need an exterior, I need that photo. If you miss a photo like that, you can go back at another time. if you miss a video clip, it's just kind of like, it's weird to, or at least in my efficient editing, to put things in different places just takes more time. So I would rather just get everything chronologically. So I'm always thinking about that. I'm always photography first. So it's photography as the main thing and video secondary, unless my couples request the other way, like I talked about. It's also a lot of my commercial projects, pretty much all of them. I think anytime we get hired for any sort of commercial shoot, I also do a lot of YouTube stuff, as was mentioned. And so I just pitch a bunch of random hotels that if I'm going somewhere, I just message them. I'm like, hey, this is what I do. And can I give you some, like a few deliverables in exchange for a free stay or exchange for something? So that was intentionally grown off of that. So I won't play the audio. So this type of stuff we do on YouTube, just like Canada stuff. It's fun. By doing video and by doing these like highlight films, you basically learn all the skills to do this or to do any commercial production. This is a shot or a highlight for Nikon, so there's a lot of product placement in it. And then we had a red canoe, and I'm like, it's Canon's color. They were okay with it though. They let it slide. But because of all the highlight films that I've done, you basically work in all the most difficult wedding conditions. That doing anything in like an easy place where you have full control over the lighting and you have like a full day or multiple days to shoot it becomes really, really easy. Video is also a lifestyle design element as well that I wanted to have. My goal, similar to Fair actually, has always been time freedom, that I'm happy to accept less money in order to have more time freedom. And video was kind of that sneaky way that I could now offer more deliverables for whenever I wanted to go and do something. If I wanted to go on a trip, I wanted to travel, that I was able to do that for at least break even. And it's kind of fun to just, I don't know, reach out to a bunch of people, and you're gonna face a lot of rejection, so you have to, or not rejection, they just don't get back to you. But you get to do a bunch. We went on a safari, like a luxury safari in Kenya for free, because we did a video on YouTube, which is crazy. My channel also at the time was like maybe 13,000 subscribers as well, so it was very small. And I just pitched, I guess it's also like influencer marketing wise. If you're just like, hey, we'll show up and we'll post on Instagram, every single company has been burned by those influencers. But as a photo and video creator, if you're like, hi, I have a much smaller platform than like the 4 million follower person that reached out to you earlier today, but I can give you 4 reels for Instagram and 15 high-res images and a 2-minute highlight cut, and I'll do interviews with like your GM, and I'll piece together like a nice highlight for your website. If you offer a business something like that, they're obviously gonna at least consider it. And most of the responses I get, it's like, wow, you're actually like offering a deliverable and like something that they need. And also you have a contract, and it's just like, it's a much better situation. So wedding photography marketing in 5 minutes. This is a mild side quest. I'll go real fast. So start building your dream portfolio. You're here today, you're doing it already. And then just don't ever stop. Fair's been doing this for 20 years. You've been doing it about the same? A little bit longer. So yeah, I don't know, I've been doing, I think 2005 was my first wedding, and I am still happy to go out and shoot for free and have fun and make something that I want to exist in the world. So that's the main thing for life happiness also. And then I guess my business strategy is to fit at least mostly into the market, that if the market already exists in your area, don't do something completely crazy unless you want to really kind of pave your own road. If you're doing something similar, and this goes to pricing and everything, if you're doing something roughly similar and comparable with your own twist, with your own personality on it, it's going to be much easier for you to start booking work. Another huge thing I did was create valuable content for my community. So this means like podcasts, video shows. I would go out and I would interview florists, and I would make them highlight films. And I would create all kinds of stuff that made them book more work. And once you start booking your friends, or they become friends, when you start making the money, they're gonna be really excited to send money your way too. So you become not only like on the referral list, but you become number 1 on that referral list. I think Fair touched on this as well, to be kind of the person that you want your couples to hang out with. I think that that's a key. And I would say that that's something that when I consider anything that I'm posting to social media, that's usually an element of it. So I'm thinking like, would this, if my client saw this Instagram story, would they be excited like the fact that this is something that I'm posting, or would it completely turn them off? And I kind of, unfortunately, go into all of that with a business mindset, or fortunately, I guess, depending on if you want personal, I guess there's always a balance. We talked about that yesterday. But overall, if you're the person your couples want to hang out with, and in the luxury space also, you have to kind of display that like you're going to fit into the day, you're not going to embarrass them, that you're not going to show up in jeans to a wedding at a venue like this. I also do paid ads all year for like $5 a day. When it's booking season, it used to be January, February. It used to be crazy booking season. Now it's like, I don't know, kind of all year. So now I do $5 a day in paid ads, and that's my marketing spend for the year. I don't do magazines or anything else anymore. I've found that the return on investment for that $5 a day is usually about $100,000. So it's like quite substantial. The main thing I would say is to build as much trust as you possibly can online. That is everything that a potential client, when they're creeping through, will actually come across. So that's your website, your Instagram, or Instagram to website. And you also want everything to be good on mobile as well. So when you're building your website or you're redesigning it, make sure primarily that your mobile is, that's the main thing. I would say it's like 80-90% of my views are all on mobile now. And then if you want to do volume, you have to make your workflow more efficient. I think we'll talk more about this tomorrow with one of the sponsors. And it's, I don't know, AI is very helpful for editing. For culling, it's definitely like nice for family photos and things that you need to I don't know, that you just have to focus on, and it's not fun. But find what balance works for you. If you love AI and you love culling that way, that's awesome. If you don't, then by all means, just do it the old way. And then once you've actually shot the wedding, you booked the wedding, making them a lifelong client. So add everyone to an email list or get their consent to add them to an email list. And then that means that anytime you're doing family specials, yearly time-sensitive offers, anything, you're able to reach out to every single client you've ever shot. So that means that when you do those Christmas sessions, you're not just gonna be like posting on Instagram being like, I hope that the algorithm doesn't crush this, that now you can be in everyone's email box and every single year. The more offers you make, the more money you'll make. So if you do that email list and you're sending out 10 offers a year, you're gonna make a lot of money from that. Yeah, email list, underrated. It sounds like it's from 2000, but it's not. All right, back to video. So the immediate objections for hybrid, I would say, is usually editing. Editing, like it's just an unknown. So editing is the immediate objection, I think, to most people. And that means that you're learning a new software, a new system. And the highlight that I showed at the beginning took me about, I think, 15 minutes to edit last night. Yeah, so I use Premiere Pro. Final Cut is, not Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve is free for the most part, so probably get started on there unless you already have the full Adobe subscription. But in like the 15 minutes that you can see up here, it was just a full edit. Yeah, so it's basically, it's similar to how you would cull and make your selects from a wedding. And rather than just selecting photos, you would just set in and out points for the clip that you recorded and then drop it onto a timeline. So it's pretty much just, I would almost say it's the blog post that I used to create. So I would make a blog post and I would create maybe 30 preview images to put on there. And after that, that was kind of it for my marketing. Now, instead of images, those are video clips and they go into a highlight film. And it's a lot more easy to digest. And also when it comes to Instagram and social media, and even YouTube, if you're posting and tagging venues, Google owns YouTube. So if you're posting a video from here, there's a pretty good chance if someone's searching, they're going to come across the video that you've created here, if it's positioned correctly with SEO. So yes, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve is free for a little while. My strategy for most things in business is to learn the basics or learn what you like to do, and then from there, outsource if it's not something that you want to continue doing. Otherwise, you are just going to be burnt out, especially for, I guess, probably the peak of from 2010 until 2020, I was doing between 60 to 70 weddings every single year, and a lot of them were hybrid photo video days. So without an editing team at that time, now more things are AI, fortunately, but without an editing team, it would have been impossible to sustain that. Other options for the video you're going to be creating is obviously it's going to create your marketing material for you. You're making something that the couple wants, but then also that is going to organically get out there a lot more. that if you go to a wedding day, even if your hybrid experience starts with shooting like 25 vertical clips at a wedding that you're hired to do photography for. Also, if there's a video team hired, don't step on their toes, don't do any video. But if there's no video team hired to do a few clips, like you're there for all of those important moments of the day. So if you're able to create them a nice reel, they're gonna be really, really happy. And it's going to go, especially if you're posting it the day of or the day after the wedding, it's gonna go way further in terms of reach and views than your normal reels will go. So there is, I would say, some urgency. That might mean over dinner, you pull a few clips and you make that reel. There's also no rules to this, that if you wanna start it with a video clip and then it goes to photography, that's totally fine. If anyone wants an easy way to make reels, my friend Angela runs a company called Social Templates, and it's basically Instagram reels that it's just a database of them. And you just use template and then you just plug in your photos or videos and it just generates you a reel. And it's all within Instagram, which is cool. So come see me after if you want a link to that. You can also go the other way where you just do, rather than a single highlight film, a 3 to 4 minute highlight, that you can do full ceremony coverage, full speeches. A lot of people are doing this, that it's just a camera on a tripod. And it's easy in theory, but when it comes to doing full length coverage like this, audio is really challenging. So I actually try to not sell this full package unless I have someone else there that's dedicated, mostly to troubleshooting audio issues, to be honest. The DJ board will always, they'll give you like an RCA out or something weird, and like, or they'll do a mic check and it'll be at this audio, and then the officiant will come on and he'll be 10 times louder. And then they'll pass the mic to the couple and they'll hold the mic like this far away and they'll do their vows from like an impossible distance. So, you know, the importance of backups for wedding photography gear, it's also important to have backup audio if you are considering this. I don't love to do this, and I actively sell my couples away from it. If they want to go this route, I'm like, hire one of my friends that I'm just going to subcontract this to anyways. I also don't love the idea of subcontracting core deliverables. So for me, I'm always shooting the highlight, or at least a decent enough highlight, in my own camera, even if I have someone else with me. At the end of the day, it's my name on the contract, and if I'm not able to deliver the thing that I promised on my website, that's a me problem. So I don't want to rely too much on anyone else to have my best interest in line, even though I trust all of my seconds. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's over anxiety of it, but I like to have that highlight and all my photography on my cameras rather than having someone else entirely different do it all and hope that they hit record. I've hired seconds. It's been a few years. Main ceremony camera set up on the balcony, beautiful church. Guy just didn't hit record. That's what you got to do. We had other cameras set up and independent audio sources, so it was fine, and I can make an edit. But like, that's the type of error that if you're hiring someone that they might make. Whereas if it's you, at least that's like your fault, and you can take ownership of it. But when it's someone else, you're like, it kind of ruins friendships. The alternate path with this is like my friend Tim. This is a picture of Tim with a beer. So we do a lot of photo and video together, and he started kind of down the path of hybrid, and I think it just stressed him out. He was just like, this is too much. I don't want to do all that. So he just started offering video services or photography. But it was all the things he learned doing hybrid that brought him to this video path and gave him all the portfolio and able to market himself as well. For extra gear that you need, you probably already have it, which is nice. If you want to do audio, maybe talk to me later, and I can give you the list of things that I use. But if you're just doing a simple music video set to, or a highlight video set to music, which is basically a music video, you don't really need much more than what you're already using for your photography equipment. I think everyone's cameras, you can turn to video mode. There are some quirks, which we'll talk about in a minute, depending on which system you're on. But overall, like, you probably have the stuff. You don't need to go out and buy gimbals. You don't need to buy tripods unless you're gonna be doing the ceremony. And I shoot everything just handheld. Makes my life a little easier, just like photography. This is what I currently use this year, if you are interested. This lens is like the best lens ever for ceremonies. I love it. There's a number of kind of competitors, like 28 to 105 sigmas, but I think that this 35 to 150 is the most useful focal range for us as photographers. For photography, I'm really happy just on prime lenses, usually one camera 35, one camera 85 all day. For video, it's very nice to be able to just zoom in to get some different shots. So when you have the versatility of 35 to 150, you can get that tight close-up in the ceremony, you can zoom out, you can get that wide shot, and then you can do your photography coverage as well. So yeah, it's not an underrated lens because it's amazing and everyone loves it, but it's really cool. The rest of the day, I usually use this, just a 35 prime, pretty much all day. That would be my dream if I could just show up, do an entire wedding on a 35. I also have one of my front buttons set up to go into crop mode. So whenever you press it down, you just scroll left or right, and it just crops in the image. So you're not like zooming, it's just like cropping it on the frame. And in photography, if you have a 24 megapixel camera, that crop photo is gonna be 12 megapixels, which I think is fine for documentary images. But if you're doing video, and you're doing 4K, and you crop in, you're still in 4K. For most cameras, there are some tweaks, but you can now zoom in without losing quality. So it is very useful. So you're on a 35, but you have a 50 with like a quick button press all day. So how do I do it? You need a camera that can switch fast. And by this, I mean the buffer. So some cameras, you can take 100 raw photos just really fast of a couple coming down the aisle, and then you can switch to video mode and you can instantly have access to recording and you can hit the record button. Some cameras, if you take 100 photos, like a Sony a7R5, it's gonna take like 8 minutes to write all those photos, and in that time, you can't record a video clip. So what I did whenever I was using one of those, it was when I was using a Nikon D750. The buffer was good, so as long as you're not shooting like hundreds of images, it usually clears pretty fast and you can record. What I would actually do is I would invert my capture. So I would go for a video clip first, since it's less data intensive. So like if a couple's walking down the aisle after the ceremony, I will roll the video clip first, and then I will switch to photo and start taking my pictures. And that was simply for buffer performance, so that I wasn't bogged down and try, like, it's the worst feeling when you take all your photos and then you're waiting for everything to write to the card, and you're just like waiting to hit record, or you hit record and it's like queued up and it's like recording in 10, 9, 8. And so yeah, you can also, I guess, go around this by using two cameras. You could have one that's for video, specifically for video. We'll talk about ND filters in a minute. But you can have a video specific camera and a photo specific camera. And that's one way to go about it. I've found that it's easier to just use one because I know where all my settings are at, especially in those faster paced environments. There's also some camera bodies, if you have a really fast memory card in it, it will perform better, or your camera, the buffer will clear faster. Some cameras, the card is not the issue, that it's actually the camera itself. So regardless of how much money you spend on cards, it is unfortunately not going to matter. But we can talk about that. I think I know, from what I saw yesterday, I think I know all of your cameras, so I think you're all good. Sometimes in settings, shooting different styles of compress, so if you're shooting the full, like your full raw files, maybe that is also more data going in. If you're shooting a more compressed format, that might speed your buffer up as well. So as I mentioned, my process is very photo first, so I am hired to be the photographer, and video is always secondary, unless the couple tells me that it's not, and usually that's in the contract. I will also say that if you do start offering hybrid photo video, you have to be very clear with your couples, because some of them will just assume that you're going to capture the entire ceremony and you're going to capture all the speeches. And if that's their expectation, even if it's not on the contract, after the wedding, you can't go back and do that. So they're going to be disappointed. So up front, I always confirm, like here it is in the contract, last email before the wedding day, just confirming we're doing a 3 to 4 minute highlight film, brackets, no ceremony, no full speeches coverage. So that we're very clear. They again say, yes, we talk about it in the first meeting. And yeah, so that's a way to hopefully alleviate any potential problems, because that is a big one and it would be very, very sad to ever go through that. So the clearer you can make it. My style, as you saw, is just very photojournalistic. So it's literally all the photos that I would take. I just roll a video clip on it. I'm not panning, I'm not moving with anyone. It's literally just a photo that moves. You could probably do this with AI eventually, but that'd probably be weird because you could just, from your previews, just be like generate film. I'm sure that could be a thing, but it's a little, I don't know. I don't think we should be faking the wedding day. I feel like that's like why we're hired, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah. I would be interested if you, like, I might do it just for, from your photos, but I don't know. It's just a bit weird for me. So I think that there still will be value in actually doing the thing and creating the real thing. And just another reminder that what this like all works for me, but it might not work for you. So if you're hearing something and you're like, oh, I like the idea of doing Instagram Reels for my couples, this also combats against the wedding content creator as well, that you just kind of become the wedding content creator. I don't know if anyone's experienced one, but it's basically someone hired with a cell phone to follow the bride and groom around, or bride, groom and groom. And it's fine. But if you can just do that with services, you can make more money and also create your own marketing material. The most stressful time, and why it's nice to have a second, is pretty much just the first kiss. First look, first kiss, and maybe entrances into the venue. Those are the only 3 moments that you can't like kind of just pause it and either do it again or repeat it or So in that case, as you saw yesterday, I literally will just shoot 2 cameras. So I'll usually have a wider lens on my video so that I'm a little less focused on that, and I'm just taking the pictures, and I just, wherever I move, I just do that. You can also flip your cameras upside down and put them kind of base to base, and if you do that, you make a nice little compact package, and it just like, if you're on a 35 here, that whatever you're capturing at the 50 is gonna be that frame plus a little bit more, or you can go same lens if you want. I've seen people build kits, like rigs, it's usually for the ceremony and first look. They will actually have 2 cameras mounted through like a flash bracket. It's a lot to carry. It's not the most ergonomic. So I think just like literally holding 2 cameras is the easiest way. And while it is possible to do all of this alone, it's very, very nice to have a second photographer with you, somebody that can just, if it's the first kiss happening, that you trust them and they can roll on that first kiss. Even if they are doing that, I will still usually take my photos of the first kiss and then switch to video. And usually there's kind of like a second first kiss or the end of that first kiss, and just so I have something on my camera again from my trust issues. And I have a bunch of, I think I have like 100 full wedding days up on YouTube now. 40 or 50 of them are probably hybrid. So if you are interested in seeing how this actually plays out, today it's like easy. There's like no stakes. You just take some pictures, roll some video clips if you want. On a wedding day, it's a little bit different. And as you know, like as photographers and videographers, like the day is just really, really chill and then really, really intense and really, really chill again. So there's kind of those waves that you have to go through. And with video, it becomes even a little more intense. The hardest thing is honestly just remembering to record video for the first longest time. That I would leave guys prep and I would be like, oh, I didn't do a video, like not even one clip, because I was just in photography mode. And then I'd be like, okay, when we get to the ceremony, I'm gonna do adjust the tie, cuffs, like I need like 3 or 4 shots, that's it. But I had a sticky note on the back of my camera that said, like, don't forget video. It's like a little pink one.
Taylor, when do you think is the time that you can only record video and then grab the stills from it? Is it
I hope soon.
No? Yeah.
So Canon, when they announced the R5 II, they announced that you could do, while you're recording 4K video, that you could do raw photography. So while your video is rolling, you could take raw photos, and then when the product came out, you can't. So it does JPEGs, which is fine. If you're like really good, I guess. I'm not that good with my exposures. I need a few more years of practice. So hopefully soon. I would love to see that. I think that this is such a niche market, but it is growing, so there is hope, I think, in the future. We'll see though. For me, for the wedding film that I did, I pretty much only changed this one setting. So I record everything in slow motion. And this is a Sony camera, but we can talk later if you do want to do something similar to what I do. I record everything in slow motion. One, because I think it looks prettier. It's absolutely a bit of a crutch, kind of like just shooting everything at 1.2. It's like kind of cheating. But also, when it comes to hybrid photo video, if you are shooting in 4K 60, which means like you're just shooting slow motion, you get, for every 1 second clip, you're getting a 2 second clip at least. So now you have to shoot a 1.5 minute highlight to make 3 minutes when you shoot. So if you go to a wedding, it's pretty easy to get a 1.5 minute usable clips. And then when it's in slow motion, again, this is what I do. If you want to do something else, like you can mix and match, you can go fast speed, you can go Super 8, you can get as complex as you want. For me, I feel like just doing 4K 60 and just doing the nice kind of slow motion edit is nice. It also hides a few things. It hides like any camera shake from being handheld a little bit better. And it also hides, so if you've researched video, you know theoretically you're supposed to do, your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting 60 frames per second, you should theoretically, your shutter speed should be 1/120 of a second. But if you're doing photo and video, you can't really shoot the entire wedding day at 120 shutter speed in photography. So there are some compromises. Basically what it means is that if you are getting the correct shutter speed, is that you get that nice motion blur. That like when you look at my hand, like you're not seeing crisp every single like my hand, right? It's like not that glitchy. If you have LED lights that refresh really fast, you might see the glitch. But overall, you just want to replicate a movement that would be natural to the human eye. And that's what makes kind of that buttery cinematic footage. And on a wedding day, I will unfortunately sometimes, if I want to shoot and get that nice cheating depth of field at 1.2, maybe I'm actually at 1/8000 of a second on my shutter speed for video, which is a complete faux pas in the cinema world. And I guess the workaround for that is that when you are doing slow motion, it hides it a little bit better. It doesn't look as glitchy. That's also why I'm not panning with people. If you pan or if you try to chase somebody down an aisle, it's gonna be an immediate giveaway. It's gonna look choppy and not good. But when you do slow motion, it just kind of blends it out a little bit more. And then if something does look really glitchy because you've shot it at a crazy high shutter speed, there's a plugin called Real Smart Motion Blur that basically frame by frame emulates what it should look like if you shot it at the correct shutter speed. I won't run it on my full project. It'll just be like specific clips. So if there's one that a car goes by and you can see that every single frame or like every single image of the car is crazy crisp and it just looks crazy, at that point I'll add that plugin and that'll smooth it out. For a long, long time, I shot in
1080p.
because that's what my camera would allow, and it was totally fine. I would upscale to 4K for delivery, and I thought I was kind of cheating and that it wasn't really like, I don't know, it wasn't as good as it could be. But as it turns out, a lot of my couples, they like the look of themselves better, that you're not really running like any sort of like beauty software on them. But when it is a smaller frame and it's upscaled, it just kind of hides imperfections. So I don't know, it kind of was fine upscaling that a 4K close-up, that 4K is like, it's a lot, even with pro makeup, like if you get too close, but 1080 upscale just kind of basically puts a mist filter on your everything. So if your camera does, yeah, go ahead.
Are you upscaling with any plugin or just in Premiere Pro?
No, just in Premiere. And then I use, we can talk about export settings later, but I just use the, I think like render at full power, and then there's one other checkbox under video that is, beside it is like the tooltip is that if you're upscaling video, like check this box basically. And I found that it was fine. I had no personal complaints. And then obviously like software just gets better over time. The other thing is, I'm sure you've heard of log footage, and that's basically when you just shoot a video and in your camera, it just looks gray. You can also put like a preview on it that will make it look normal. For me, I shoot regular footage. So that means that basically the JPEG that I'm seeing on the back of the camera in photo, I'm making sure that that is just like good to go. Because in raw photos, you have so much leverage that if shadows disappear into black, that's fine. If highlights go, you have some ability to bring them back. With video, you're basically just shooting a bunch of back-to-back-to-back JPEGs, which is a little more challenging if you do mess up a shot or you don't really have the ability to correct a white balance as much as you should be able to in a raw photo. So just make sure everything is like as good as it can be in your camera. And that's what I do. Again, not right or wrong, that you can do whatever you're feeling. This does one major thing for me, and it just alleviates color correction for the most part. All the first video you saw of my travels here, those are all just straight out of camera clips. There was no color or anything on that. And that speeds your production up a lot. Obviously, for a wedding, I would say maybe I do like 10 or 15 clips. I'll have to go in and do some adjustments too. But overall, like it's just kind of pretty much good to go. You can also really refine camera profiles now too, which is nice. I always shoot full manual. If you are a manual photographer, this is easy. If you're shooting a mirrorless camera, or I guess every camera on video, you're just seeing exactly what you're doing. So it's really, really easy, I would say. And I also lock my ISO and white balance, simply because like if someone is walking towards me and they're wearing a white dress or a dark suit, and I'm on any sort of automatic exposure modes, it's gonna see that thing come into focus, and it's gonna be like, oh, there's a very bright object on the screen. I'm gonna knock the exposure down in order to compensate. And those exposure changes just feel, that's just like a not professional feeling to a final video. So I do everything full manual, and this means my photography through the wedding day as well. You also have options for bits. So you have like, well, we can talk video settings depending on what camera you're at. I usually go for the highest bits allowed. Basically what it means, it's not giving you more resolution or anything. It's just giving you a little more leverage in post-production in order to do some color correction if you need. I would say that's best use case, but if you don't have the ability, if your camera only does 8-bit, a lot of everything I shoot for YouTube is just like this right here, or this, one of these two. So if your memory cards are smaller, or you're stressed about something, like as the day is coming to a close, you're like, oh, I only have like 10 photos left on this card. You can go down, but I don't know. Best case probably to go with the highest bits available. So ND filters, I'm sure you've seen cinematographers with the screw-on ND filters or the big matte boxes in front of their cameras. For hybrid coverage, it's really hard to use unless you have a dedicated camera. As I mentioned, you're supposed to shoot double your frame rate. So if you're shooting 60 frames a second for slow motion, then you should be at that 1/20th of a second to make everything look as cinematic as it can. Unfortunately, again, like I just can't do that all wedding day. So I don't use an ND filter. I'm not screwing it on and off. There are magnetic ones that you can clip on and off that are really nice. If you are doing something, if you have a gimbal or if you want to do any sort of movement shot, I would recommend putting an ND on for that to make sure that you get the right shutter speed rather than relying on the plugin. The plugin's pretty good, but if you can get it a little more correct in your camera, it's obviously better. And this also comes from somebody that just shoots everything wide open pretty much all the time. So if you are fine with stopping down to f8 to get a better shutter speed, you can do that. But otherwise, I don't use ND filters, which is super controversial. That's how you spell the plugin that I used. So it's just Real, R-E-E-L, Smart Motion Blur. And it just hides, it does a very good job. Side by side, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. Your couples, they'll never know why something doesn't feel right. Like if a shot is like a little too glitchy, they're never gonna know exactly why. It's like, oh, like we don't know why we feel uncomfortable watching this film rather than relaxed. And if they feel uncomfortable, it's probably because your shutter speed's way too high and you're moving your camera too much. And if they feel relaxed and just, I don't know, able to enjoy with no stress, that's probably a better, I don't know, a better film overall for you. So yeah, it's a good plugin. I do everything handheld. IBIS in most cameras these days is more than good enough, so no complaints at all. If you do have a little bit too much camera shake and you want to clean something up, you can use different plugins for that. In Premiere, it's called Warp Stabilize, and you can just put that on. The defaults always come to like crazy values, so I usually, whatever it comes default to is like 50%. Bring it down to like 10 so that there still is some movement. You can also use it to basically replicate a tripod as well. So there's a no motion button, and if you're just trying to do a tripod shot and you're like a little sideways like this, or you're doing photos also and you're just a little slanty, it'll just clean it up for you. Now, how to build portfolio. There's kind of 3 ways. You're already doing one of them. One of them's on this list. I would say the way that I did it to get my experience was I just went to a wedding as a 3rd photographer. And this is also, be very clear, make sure that there's no video team hired. Don't do step on anyone's toes. But as a wedding photographer, if you've been doing it a little while, you're considering adding photo video coverage. If you have some friends that are going out on a Saturday, ask them to ask a couple if you can come and do a wedding film for them. Most couples are probably not going to say no to that, and you can start building your portfolio that way. If you are at a lot of weddings in 1 year, you can just start now with all of your own couples. You don't have to make full highlight films. You can make a 1-minute film. You can make reels. You can do kind of whatever you're feeling. But if you start collecting a bunch of clips from your actual weddings, you can make a nice little highlight that features them all in order to make something that's a little better for marketing. Because I'm gonna say that like my first 10, 15, 20 highlight films, they were fine. I didn't charge for them. But they didn't really organically sell themselves because my skills just weren't there yet. I didn't know all the shots that I needed. I didn't know what shots that I would use. I massively overshot every single day. Now, I probably shoot about, I would say 20 minutes total of video clips at a wedding. My first few, I shot like 3 hours. And to do a 3-minute edit from 3 hours of footage, it's a long time. That's a long edit. The tighter you get, the more you see what shots you use, the easier that edit becomes. For me, it was basically, depending on the wedding, not shooting a lot of details because I know that I would use maybe one wide room shot and then maybe one close-up. There was no reason for me to go around the room and get 10 or 15 video clips from the ceremony space or from the reception. So I would just simply go in, I would do my photography coverage, those are all photo moments, and then I would do a video clip that I knew I was going to use. So you get better over time, and then editing becomes a little bit easier. Styled shoots, things like this, we're doing it today, and this is a very, very easy way that you can, again, with no real stakes, experiment and see if you enjoy it. I think that's also an important thing. Like, don't do something, like if you're like, yeah, it seems like great business, but I absolutely hate the idea of it, like, don't do it. That's the easiest way to make just a life that is not happy for you. So understanding that, I think, is also learning that what you don't want to do is as important as learning what you want to do. And then at your own wedding, just start slow. Do some Instagram clips, maybe an intro clip for a reel, something that can mix into your photos, or in a carousel. Maybe you're doing kind of those, like that it's going to be 5 images and then there's going to be 1 video clip, and then 5 more images and 1 video clip. To at least start letting people know that like this is a service that you offer, and it organically kind of sells itself pretty well. I think one of the biggest things is to not let it take anything from your wedding photography coverage at first. If you're there hired to do wedding photography, don't let this distract you and be like, I'm gonna make them the best highlight film they've ever seen. And even if that is amazing and it's not what they're expecting, your client's gonna be disappointed that you didn't deliver what they hired you for. And I don't know, I guess it comes down to a balance also. I just try to not be selfish with it, I think, is kind of one of the keys for me. The ways, once you have a little portfolio and you have, I would also say the confidence and at least the basic skills required, is to start upselling it. So I would say maybe 15 films in, little 3-minute highlight films. I started offering this as a service for an upsell. So if one of my couples, if their wedding was coming up in 3 weeks and we were getting the final details together, I would see their vendor list. They don't have a video team hired. I would be like, hey, for $800, would you like to add this? And I would link them to a recent video clip. And that would typically, I would say, convert like half of the couples that I offered it to. Maybe that means that maybe that means I was in the right price. There's also, I guess, that they hired you to be a photographer and they didn't hire a video team. So there's like also limited interest, I would say, in video. If it came down to budget, I think that's why they would hire. But if it came down to actual desire to have a video and they didn't want it, it would be no upsell. And we'll talk about my actual pricing in a minute. For music, I found MusicBed is the absolute best. It is really, really just high quality. There's a lot of services out there that are a lot less expensive. I think it's $50 to use a clip or to use a song one time. You're actually licensing it legally. And then $100 to use a song 5 or 10 times. MusicBed's quality is like amazing. And when it comes to other competitors like Artlist, and they have good stuff, and you can find really good tracks in there. But overall, I would say MusicBed is just like very easy. Just find like a wedding videography playlist, and there's probably going to be like 20 or 30 songs there that are just ready to go. With other services, I've also found that the lyrics also have to match up. And a lot of songs, unfortunately, will be like, they'll start off great, and you're like, oh wow, this is so lovely, they're in love, perfect. Chorus is great, and then verse 2, they break up. So a lot of songs are like that. MusicBed has a curated list that's just the happy parts. So no drama. For pricing, this is at least my numbers. Again, your market might differ. I'm from Toronto in Canada, so this is kind of what works for us. We're probably, I would say, in terms of US pricing, we're like 70% under that, so I don't know how that would convert to, or not 70% under, but we're like, if an average wedding in the States is like $5,000, it's not, but if an average wedding photography cost is $5,000, a Canadian cost on it would maybe be $3,500, around there. So that's our discrepancy to the States. So I feel like a lot of educators are from the States, so they're always talking like these huge numbers, and I've kind of found that like not a lot of them convert to Canadian, that we've had a few photographers that charge like 10,000 a day, stuff like that, but overall it's very much not the norm. Whereas I feel like in big markets like LA and New York, like that's very normal for a higher end wedding, where I haven't really found it in Canada. So if you are looking at other educators out there and you're seeing these crazy numbers, you don't have to believe them. So year 2, I started adding, I went from just kind of that like intro offer of like $800, like that was almost please give me the excuse to be able to record video at your wedding, so that they knew I was doing it, so it was part of the package, and it wasn't a surprise. Surprise is nice sometimes, surprise is not good sometimes. One super weird thing, so I guess 2 super weird things I found out. One, a lot of my couples just hate the sound of their voice, so they don't want, I guess like this is just normal for people. Like hearing yourself on the radio for the first time or like doing a video, you're like, oh, that's what I sound like. This is something that's taken me 20 years on YouTube to like get kind of okay at. I still don't like the process. My couples, they're again, a lot like me. They don't want to hear their voice. So while you think that like, oh, I'm gonna include their vows, it's gonna be amazing, make sure that it's the right couple. Because sometimes when you add the vows in the beginning, it's just like a shock. Or like Fair did like halfway through the slideshow, like allow them to warm into it rather than just being like, oh, we're talking on the video. So that was some weird thing that I found out, and it was, I guess my couples were a lot happier when I didn't do any sort of audio, that they just wanted a music video, which was counterintuitive to what I would have thought. Like the more I offer, like the happier they should be, but it turns out that an edit request would come in like, can we get a music only edit, please? And then the other thing I found out was that if you're, say for instance, at cocktail hour, that's a photo moment. Like those candids, all photos, because the one video clip that you're gonna get of like some random person in the room, it's gonna be in the most beautiful lighting, it's gonna be the most cinematic shot of the film, and it's gonna be like a random person that was invited by one of their friends. And then that's gonna come back as an edit request, you're gonna have to find another clip to replace it. So I just don't really shoot that. I'll shoot like a wide of cocktail hour, but anyone that ends up in the film as like even this much of the screen is gonna be an immediate family, it's gonna be a wedding party, it's gonna be one of the couples, members of the party, like it's somebody that's close to them and that I know isn't gonna get cut from the film. That said, you still will get random family drama that pops up like 3 years later and it's like, hey, can you cut like this person out of the film? And I probably get one of those like every year that they're like, yeah, we had some stuff, seeing them kind of ruins the film. And I'm like, yeah, I still got the project, I'll make the edit. Year 3, I started adding a full hybrid package. And that's kind of what it was in Canadian pricing. Again, more expensive than what my photography only would be. And overall, it just like, I don't know, it was obviously making me more money, but then when couples inquired, it was very, very rare for them to ever go to anyone else. That they would contact me, they'd be like, okay, that's the price, cool. And then if they wanted photography for like $2,000 less, they would have to also hire a video team if they wanted that. And that kind of came down to how interested they were in video. If they just wanted a simple highlight, I can do it. If they wanted a full video production, I'm obviously, again, like selling myself out of that. If they're like, yeah, we're like really excited, we want these like cinematic shots that have like a cathedral veil, I want like that follow shot down the, I'm like, that's not what I can do. So I'm not gonna promise, I'm not gonna try to do that. Then year 4, I got into long-term pricing, and that's completely, I guess, up to you guys in your market and whatever you see working. So for my actual business and pricing, my suggestion for packages, so I have 4 packages. 2 are photography only, and 2 are photo video. The expensive package is that I'll do full ceremony as well as full speeches, the one that I don't want to do. I also include a slightly longer highlight in that, and I will include their audio from their vows. So that's the big package, the big expensive one. Next to that is the one that I always try to sell, which is photo video coverage with a 3-minute highlight. There's no audio. I'm very clear with that it's just music video and really, low maintenance, I would say. They don't have to do anything. It's not that much more than my photography only. And I would say 80% of my couples are going for that. And it's pretty rare for someone to inquire and to not be looking for a video now. Then I kind of have like an elopement style thing, just like a 5-6 hour day. And then up from that it's basically these 2 packages are the same. So this is like 8 hours photography only, and this is 8 hours with a highlight video and photo, which is typically a pretty easy upgrade. One of the things that I found out was that client education-wise, that a lot just don't understand what hybrid is. So photo video coverage, like they're just like, how do you do both? And I have a video on my website that explains like that I do both. Because that was weirdly one of the questions that came up a lot. They're like, how do you record videos with your camera? And then I would like show them in a meeting, like you just move the button. And they'd be like, oh, crazy, they do video now. Yeah. But like the other benefit is that you can now use all these skills that you've learned to promote your own business. So now you can make your own highlight films that promote you. You can get your second to do some video clips of you when you're at those portfolio weddings. And now you can create just better marketing material with the things that you've learned, as well as book more stuff. Another underrated thing, just like use it to help promote your friends that are other vendors. Again, if you're making them a ton of money, if you're making a venue like $100,000 and like with like 1 or 2 wedding sales, because you made a little, like you went in, and also it's a great excuse. You can email any venue and be like, hi, I'd love to come in and do a 2-minute highlight film for you to post on Instagram or to post on my blog. Like a venue is not gonna ghost that. A good marketing person is not gonna ghost that. And then depending on their interest, I can do a few things with this. If they are super excited and they're like, oh my God, like we would love that. At that point, I'll be like, oh, can I do an interview with like yourself, like and one of your salespeople, so that I can get just like some footage of them talking about the space. If it's not like we're really excited about this, then it's just maybe selfish, I guess, that I'll just go in and I'll shoot what I want. Typically, it's a wedding venue that I've already shot some photos at, and I'll just make a nice little highlight of that. And then I can do voiceover, or I can be, if you want to be on camera, you can be like, hi, I'm here at a chateau in France. You don't need a microphone, although maybe that's a thing. But you can be the face of it as well. Or you can just go in and just shoot some nice like Instagram reel highlight stuff and tag them, and now you're a collaborator, a location tag, everything good for your business. And that's, I guess maybe that's like the main message here, is that if you can make people money, they're gonna like you, and you're gonna get more Christmas presents if you celebrate Christmas. All right, wrapping up, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and it is really important to understand what is right for you and your business. Just because I'm up here with a PowerPoint presentation doesn't mean that like everything I do, it's like, oh yeah, I must do it exactly the same. There are 100 different ways to do everything. It's kind of like editing in Photoshop that like, yeah, you can get to the same result, but there's so many pathways to do it. So for video coverage, I would say that that's like, I don't know, wherever it fits into your business and whatever you enjoy actually making, I think is important. So remember, don't make a business that makes you sad. This is me laying on the floor. Build a business that makes you happy. Look, I'm getting up, and you'll end up flying. See? You'll probably be able to fly. All right. That's all. Any questions? Happy to do them outside. Sorry that was a lot. Thank you.